Good morning, Pastor T. And let me say what an absolute pleasure it's been to spend a little time together with you. I thank you and I thank your staff.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate having you with us for the last few days. It has been rich, it's been edifying, it's been encouraging. It has destroyed so many boxes that people have put God in and have put their lives in.
Absolutely, but you left out one thing. It's been a terrific few days in all the ways you mentioned. But it's been one other thing as well. And
what's that?
It's been fun.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
It's been enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Learning should be fun always.
It should be, that's right. But certainly in my work, and I know yours because we do much of the same thing, that you very often are in places where it's work. You're there to deliver a message, you're there to do the job, you're there to meet with the people. But you don't walk away necessarily feeling elated and encouraged and uplifted. You don't really feel like, hey, this was real fun and time went by too quickly.
That's right. So you're saying you can enjoy being liberated.
I think it's a whole lot easier to enjoy being liberated than to enjoy being imprisoned and shackled and oppressed, really. And
By what? What was that topic? What were we overcoming this weekend?
Well, we were trying to overcome not just poverty, but the mindset that causes poverty, really.
I mean, you're saying poverty isn't just me having a lack of money. It's not me living in a certain neighborhood or an environment, but you're saying poverty has a mindset.
Well, here's the proof of that, and this has been shown. It's easily visible in our time, in other times, in different countries, and that is when people have a poverty mindset, you can shovel as much money at them as you like, and when you come by next time, they're going to be just the way they were in the first place.
So wait a minute, you're saying if I'm really, really poor, and you give me $10,000, after you give me the $10,000, I'm still going to be really, really poor.
Not the next day, but 3 weeks later, yes. Yeah, you'll probably have some shiny car in the driveway, but you'll be poor. Yeah.
Because you enable me to stay in my poverty. You didn't help me to come out of my poverty by giving me the $10,000.
That's actually a really good way of putting it. I like what you just said. A lot of times we make the mistake in trying to help the poor and in trying to solve the problem of poverty. What we really do is just help people adjust to poverty. We help them get used to the dreadful situation they're in of being poor.
Right.
Yeah.
And poverty has no positive benefits.
None that I can think of, and I've been thinking about it for quite a while. No, I do not think there are. I think it's a curse.
It is.
I think it's a curse, and I'll tell you in ancient Jewish wisdom, it's compared to death. It really is. In what way? In what way? Well, what is the most disturbing thing about death?
Uncertainty.
Well, yeah, but I'd go one stage further than that. What is the worst town you know of? The place you really don't like going to? Think of Fresno, California, maybe. Okay. Sorry, folks in Fresno. Don't mean
we still love you.
Still love you. Got friends there. But here's the great thing about going to Fresno. That is, if you don't like it, you can come back. The problem with death is only one thing, and that is if you don't like it, you can't come back.
Right.
In other words, you've got no choices.
Right.
As long as there's life in your body, you have choice. You can do things.
Right.
You can turn directions. You can do something different. Death removes choices. Poverty eliminates choices.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Poverty eliminates options for where you can live, how you can be educated, what you can wear, what you can drive. Poverty dictates almost every area of your life.
Absolutely. It dictates what you can give to your children, what you can give to those around you. So absolutely, there's no there is nothing good about it at all. And teaching people to adjust to it or live it. No, I don't think we want to do that. We want to change the mindset to the mindset that God intended and that He instructed in the Bible.
Right. So now, if I am the really, really poor, which I used to be, we were homeless, we ate out the dumpster, We ate out the back of a farmer's pickup truck because we didn't know where our next
Yeah,
meal
the
was
story
coming
you
from.
told on my radio show really resonated with people. The emails are still coming in from people who want more details on you and were moved by the story you told. So yes, you have a very, very important testimony to give because, let me put it this way. Bill Gates is a very smart guy and a very nice guy, but he's never gone hungry in his whole life.
Right.
Not one time. Okay, you know what I mean? Donald
Trump.
Trump, bright guy, very funny guy,
Right.
but never been hungry one day in his whole life.
Right.
Never worried about paying bills.
Right.
And that's why what you have to teach is much more important.
I can relate to people about not having enough money, having more than money, as I like to say. Sometimes we have what we consider more time than money. And we spend the most of our time thinking about how can we acquire more money, how can we have more money, and when we do, what can I do with it? Because all the bills, the needs, and so forth are speaking. And those are a tormenting prison. It strips people of their vision, their self-esteem.
Yes.
It diminishes self-worth.
And dignity.
And dignity.
Dignity goes.
That's
yes.
right. People take pride in paying their obligation. Now, you said earlier that the Bible had wealth concepts. So you're telling me the best way for me to change my condition and my mindset is in the Bible?
Yes, it is, but with correct instruction, because if you simply just read the pages of the Bible, let me put it this way. You have a very strong background in business and finance and accounting, and if somebody put an accounting textbook in front of us, and if I read it and if you read it, there's going to be two different conclusions. I'm going to read it, I'm not going to understand it. There are words that I don't know.
Right.
And so if you then say, okay, I'm going to walk you through this book, I'm going to teach you what these words mean. Because when I see words like double entry and journal and ledger, I don't know what's going on because I don't know what those words mean.
Right.
And similarly, it's very possible to make the mistake of thinking that the Bible is just an easy read. No, the Bible is more filled with information than an accounting textbook. But you've got to know what different words mean. And so just to give you one example, which you and I have mentioned once already, is that you have to know that in the Bible, things like water, whenever you see the word water, it doesn't only mean water as in the narrative, but it also means God's wisdom.
When water is God's wisdom.
Yes, when the word water appears, it means God's wisdom. So I'll give you an example of where that means. In Genesis chapter 6 comes the flood, and it says in the 600th year of Noah's life, the floods of the deep were opened, the fountains of the deep, and the water flowed. And that is an allusion to the 6,000th year of human existence when wisdom gets unleashed and wisdom gets opened up. Well, we are now in the 6,000th year. The Jewish calendar is now 5775.
Right.
And we are in a period of the Industrial Revolution, the scientific breakthrough. All the wisdom that God placed on earth is now pouring out. And human beings have learned more in the last 500 years than we learned in the previous 5,000 years.
Wow.
So that's water. Now, another technical word in the Bible is bread. When bread appears, it always means money.
Dough.
Or, as we say very often, can you lend me some dough?
Right.
Or, do you got any bread?
Right.
That's where that comes from.
What is the root of that word? Bread and dough.
In Hebrew, the root of that word is lechem. In Hebrew, it's lechem. And that means not only bread, money, it also means fight or war. Why? Well, because it's very simple. There are a lot of people who live very comfortable lives, their whole lives, who become pacifists.
Right.
And they say, oh, I don't believe in warfare, I don't believe in fighting. And that's only because they've never lived in a country that's been invaded.
Right.
They've never ever been attacked, either personally or nationally. So it's very easy to proudly proclaim yourself a pacifist because you've never had to defend anything.
Right.
But if all of a sudden you don't have any bread,
dough.
or dough, guess what? You'll suddenly forget those pacifist principles.
That's right.
Yeah. So bread or dough is one of those things that in the final analysis, when push comes to shove, each and every one of us will fight for, because fighting is preferable to dying.
Right. So now, and what we consider the Torah, the teachings of Moses, has a lot of wealth principles.
It sure does, yes.
The words that Moses taught the children of Israel were liberating and what? Empowering.
Yes.
Because when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, they bankrupted the nation in a day, if you will. They got back wages and pay.
For 400 years, yes.
For 400 years.
That's exactly right. And that was the end of Egypt's prominence as a world power. They were wiped out by the Jews leaving. And the Jews took the money, and you might well have imagined that some of the Israelites would have said, God, just get us out of here. The money's not important.
Right.
No, the money's very important. You're not going until you take all the money.
Right. And then now when we talk about the word go, before they left, they were in the process of what? Baking.
Yes.
And now, because of time, they didn't allow the bread to run.
Yes, that's right. God said, look, we're in a hurry. I mean, there's no question about it.
Right.
When you've been enslaved for 400 years and now you're starting your life,
Right.
You're turning over a new leaf.
Right.
Don't say, I'll do it this afternoon.
That's right.
Say, I'm going to do it now.
That's
so
right.
very often when I know this, I'm sure it happens to you, it happens to me when I teach biblical principles of wealth creation.
Right.
People sometimes say, that's fantastic. I mean, I'm really going to do that. And I always say, really, when? And they say, tomorrow. Well, I'm starting that this evening.
Right.
It's never going to happen.
That's right.
There's no time. If you're not in a hurry right now. So that's the message of deliverance there. But even though...
The message for deliverance, I need to take action when?
Right now.
So if I want my situation to change, I have to do something now.
You've got to do something now. You can't just let it remain a thought or a resolution or a happy sentiment. You've got to do something now.
So you're telling me,
pick up the phone and call your friends and say, you know what, I'm not going out with you this afternoon or this evening because I'm going to start working my way through an important book. Make that phone call right now, not this evening.
So I don't have to wait till January to see a new beginning in my life.
That's exactly right.
But I can take action right now, begin a process that will change my current situations and circumstances.
Yes.
That'll reposition me for a better outcome in my everyday life.
Exactly right.
And if I take the instructions Moses gave to the children of Israel, how much more would my life be better off?
There is no question about it that everyone's life will be better off. Now, let me just explain this. That if a 250-pound football player on the defensive line comes and says, I want to learn ballet. Let's be honest.
Right.
He's not ever going to be on the stage of Carnegie Hall dancing Swan Lake Ballet. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Because he isn't equipped to do that.
Right.
But could we, by teaching him dance, could we make him more graceful so that the next time he's at a dinner party, he doesn't knock over tables and bump into people? Yes. So I think it's important to clarify here. We're not saying that you can take the Bible, follow these principles, and wave a magic wand, magic, and you're going to be a millionaire by April.
Right.
Maybe you will, or maybe you won't. But that's not what we're saying. Is can you dramatically improve your current situation? Oh, yes, big time.
That's right. And now you just said something very important. That following the instructions of the Bible is not a get-rich-quick scheme. We live in a society where everybody wants everything now.
That's true, yes.
Without taking appropriate action to change their now. But they want the fruit, the gratification, they want the evidence of it now.
Yes, that's right.
But I find it more rewarding, and you may as well, to put to practice the principle and to go through the process. Most people don't want to go through the process, but I believe it's through the process that you learn and you mature and you refine your character. So when you get to the other end, you're not the uncouth new rich. You're not the You're not the sloppy or the reckless.
And I look, I understand what you're saying. I mean, you know, every now and then I try and lose a few pounds of weight. I could afford to lose a few pounds, and I get impatient, you know.
Right.
Because the right way to lose, I'm told, is to lose like, you know, a pound a week or half a pound a week.
Right.
And I think to myself, well, you know, I want to lose 10 pounds. What are we talking about? 6 months?
Right.
You know, give me something, give me pills, give me tablets. No, that's not healthy.
No.
It's not. And if you did lose 10 pounds in a week, that's a really bad thing.
So now, if it's unhealthy to lose weight certain ways, is it unhealthy to attempt to acquire wealth certain ways?
It would be, yes. I like the way you put that. Not only ineffective, but unhealthy as well. Yes. So, no, absolutely. If you try and increase your income by focusing on you and what you want, and yes, that's ineffective, and I think it's unhealthy.
Because I'm breeding or feeding selfish.
You're seeing other people as tools for your gratification.
Right.
If you decide that it's got to happen now and quickly, that's unhealthy and ineffective.
But in our process, in our journey, we should be focusing on how we can benefit humanity and enable and empower our fellow brothers and sisters in society by offering a product or service or concept that not only will benefit me in the end, but will be life-changing for them as well.
Absolutely, yes. And I remember talking to somebody after a biblical finance seminar I was doing, and this young man said to me, well, you know, it's all very interesting, but there's absolutely nothing that I can do. There's nothing I can give anybody. There's nothing anybody wants from me. You know? And I spoke to him for a little while, and I was trying to draw things out of him. I wanted to learn more about his life. You know, I discovered eventually that one of his passions is hip-hop dancing.
Uh-huh.
And so he thought now that our earlier conversation about money was finished, and now we're talking about dance.
Right.
And now he got impassioned, his eyes lit up, and he started moving around as he was talking to me.
Right.
So I said, honest to goodness, I cannot dance. I'm terrible. When you see me dancing, I look like a drunkard trying to stomp on cockroaches. I mean, I'm really bad.
Right.
And so, you know, could you like make me better at this?
Right.
He said, yeah. He said, I definitely. He said, I don't know how good you'll be, but so I said, well, let's try it. How long? Let's take 15 minutes now, and just see if you can make me a little better at dancing. And sure enough, you know, he was really good. He showed me, and then he said, okay, you know what? Forget about your feet. Let me show you. We're going to work on hands first. Forget about the feet. Okay, now forget the hands. We're going to work on feet. Now we're going to try. So 15 minutes later, I wasn't anything to look at, but I was better than I was before.
Right.
And so I said, thanks very much indeed. He said, oh, you're welcome. Now, he said, so back to what we were saying before. Remember, I was telling you that your theories are very good, but I've got nothing to give. I said, I've just shown you what you have to give. What do you think? You really think I want to become a dancer?
Right.
You know, I managed without until now. I'm going to become. This was all to show you something. You could right now, tomorrow, start making videos with your telephone, teaching people how to dance, and you could sell those videos. That's something you could do. You could literally do. If you would just focus on ways you could help other people, like you just helped me, and you know, his jaw dropped open, and it was a light went on. And I'm happy to report that when I was next back at that particular church a year later, I took one look at him and I said, this guy's bought some cool creds.
Wow.
This guy's looking different. He's doing okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But now, something just came to my mind when you gave this scenario. Because of technology and the accessibility that we have to it, it's changed access to the marketplace. You said he could take his cell phone and record a video. And now we see a lot of what we call it overnight sensations or YouTube sensations.
Yes.
Because now everyone has access. It's not like you have to save up all your money, move to Hollywood or this, that, or the other.
That's right.
But now everybody, the playing field, if you will, has been leveled.
Yes.
That there's no barriers or obstacles that will keep one out who would sincerely desire to go into the marketplace?
I love your line of questioning, Pastor T, because you're just cutting down to the absolute essence of this topic, and you're exactly right, because one of the biblical principles is called the Jubilee. It's a 50-year cycle, and one of the things that God has built into the world is a 50-year economic cycle based on communication and connection.
Right.
Every time there is a breakthrough in communication, there is a burst of economic creativity and wealth building.
Wow.
So, for instance, in around about 1800 or thereabouts, shipping began to enjoy a big breakthrough because all of a sudden, instead of using only wind, they were using steam power.
Right.
So in 1800, there's this big breakthrough of economic creativity in Europe and America, because all of a sudden, the time to cross the Atlantic gets cut down.
Right.
1850, another big burst, the telegraph, the electrical telegraph.
Right.
1900, radio. 1950, television. 2000, the internet.
Right.
Every 50 years, God makes it easier for us to communicate with one another, connect with one another, and that results in a bigger burst of creativity and economic wealth. And so, yes, nowadays, since we have no excuse for not connecting, there's no excuse for not serving other people in that fashion and benefiting from it. Technology is a wonderful blessing.
Wow. Now, you just said something as far as communicating and connecting. So no longer am I subject to my local economy, but because of the internet, social media, and all the different mediums available, I can almost become a global business or global entrepreneur in a matter of months.
From a small town.
From a small town,
Yes.
such as where I live.
Exactly right.
Because there's no borders now.
There are no borders, and the product, if you are, this example I gave you, this young man who then decided he was going to try and produce a series of hip-hop dance video, instructional videos. His customers are all around the world. He never even meets them.
Wow.
And he doesn't even have to ship them anything, because what he delivers is delivered electronically. Yeah, so he has only one thing that he has to do, which is bank his money.
Not bad. To be compensated for a one-time act, if you will. Well, I know we're going to close the program in a moment. We apologize for the short length of it. But, as always, some good things have to come to an end. But we're not going to say this comes to an end.
No, this is just a brief pause.
There we are. I want to encourage you to get Rabbi Lapin's book, Thou Shalt Prosper, The 10 Commandments of Making Money. It has phenomenal principles in there that will change your everyday life, not only in your finances, but in your marriage, your relationships, your thought patterns. It'll build your self-esteem and change every area of your life for the better.
Well, let me encourage you to buy Pastor T's book. You need that one as well, Living in the Economy of God. And he gave me a copy. I've had a chance to go through it and learn from it and see the benefits. You can too.
Thank you. Well, we wish you all great success and prosperity.